repair that I feel like the younger generation now have experienced in their parenting. Parents who can say, oh, I shouldn't have gone off like that. So sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's everything. Yeah.
And I think it changes the experience in the child from one of insecurity and fear and shame and I'm bad and I have to be a particular way so that my parents can be a particular way to mum lost her shit.
Yeah. And you know what? She's not my burden to carry.
Yeah.
Mum can sort herself out.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Whereas when you weren't getting your needs met, your way of adapting was I have to keep my caregiver, I have to sacrifice my needs for my caregiver to be as stable as she can be for my safety. Yeah. If she's okay, I'm okay. And if that means I have to abandon all my needs and be invisible and go
just
with
make
it.
it easier.
Yeah,
let's just make it easier for everybody. There's stress in the environment. It's too busy. Let's just I'll make it as easy as possible and then I can get as many of my needs met as I can.
Yeah. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
Please them, please mum, please the world. Pay whatever I need to for those M&Ms and I'll be okay.
Yes.
I'll stay safe. Yeah. Yeah. But then, through all the new, just tolerating new ways of being and staying safe bit by bit through, what you're learning about yourself in the safe container of Therapeutic Alliance, you build up that new sense of safety through experience. And again, that's the difference between just talking about it and thinking ourselves to be better and saying self-affirmations or whatever. That's, that real surface level to actually experiencing what we didn't get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over and over again so it becomes practice. And now for you, a lot of the time you are able to stay ventral, that rest and digest and at ease with confidence to just automatically get your needs met. I'm paying the right price. Thanks.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
I would love if you could give a bit of an overview of attachment and the attachment styles, the different ways that we relate. I know it can be incredibly individual and complex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you say a bit about, the basics of attachment and what we might see in people or in ourselves?
Yeah. So essentially it's about learning if we are safe in the world because as human beings, social mammals, just like any other mammal, we have this reptilian part of the brain, the amygdala that's, millions of years old, that hasn't changed. And it's as I said before, it's developed in utero, which is incredible. It just is there from the moment that we are formed to sort of be scanning our environment to tell us if we're safe or not. And it will do whatever it can to keep us safe because we are actually brought into the world completely dependent on an attachment figure to stay safe. But we might not always have that. Think of sort of thousands of years, millions of years ago, the environment might have, there was all sorts of things going on that might have impacted the caregiver that, still today go on that reduce their capacity to keep us safe. So we've got this innate ability, do whatever we need to do to stay safe as possible. So what we're doing is we're connected to someone who's responsible for our care and we're ideally feeling that person is attuning to us, that we are getting our needs met as most of the time consistently. And that's telling us I've got this person by my side or, always within reach who's meeting my needs, not just my physical needs, but my emotional needs. They're available to me. Yeah. And I can be on my own in this world and know that they're not too far away. They're kind of like safe haven of that sort of circle around us of my caregiver is watching me in a really supportive way. I don't have to rely on them as I get older and build up my innate abilities. I've got them I can be interdependent. I've got them there, but I don't have to rely on them. But that's come through. This is secure attachment, I guess, is what I'm sort of starting with, that we've brought into the world as this completely dependent being wired for that attachment, for that connection, to say I can be safe in the world and I can be safe within myself because I've got someone there that is looking out for me, looking after me. That gives you that inner security and ability to be safe with other people.
So it's like a securely attached person has the belief the world and relationships are pretty safe.
Absolutely. And I can be safe on my own, not relying on someone to keep me safe, because I've kind of internalized that. I've got that. I've had that all my life and it's still with me.
So first they experience someone keeping them safe because they're so, and regulating with them.
Yes, the regulation.
And then they can kind of take that out into the world and regulate themselves.
Yes. And be interdependently attached to safe people that they choose. So friends, they don't always have to have an intimate partner, but they can be open to that. Yeah, and let people into their worlds in an intimate way, and colleagues, friends have enough distance that they can still have their own sense of their own identity, not be enmeshed with anyone, but not be too distant to keep safe from them. Interdependence. We don't want complete independence, but we don't want enmeshment either, where it's like I can't have you out of my sight or I can't have you unstable in any way because that makes me just too unsafe in the world. Yeah. So that's the nice middle. If you think of the spectrum of attachment style, that's what we would ideally have, this secure attachment. And then we've got at the other end avoidant attachment, which is coming from a place of experiencing in those formative years not being safe with people a lot of the time or enough of the time, where you've not had enough consistency of getting your needs met. You may have actually been literally physically unsafe, you may have been abused, there may have been all of these adverse experiences that actually were literally making you unsafe with people. So, of course, you're going to build up the innate belief system that you are not safe with people. You have to keep distance. You only have yourself. You have to fend for yourself. That is how you survive. And there'd be all sorts of ways that you do that, but essentially you'd be keeping people at a distance to stay safe from getting hurt again. And the thing to remember with any attachment style is people can relate to all parts of different styles, and you can sort of have, you know, different traits of all of them. So you could sort of be anxiously avoidant. So it's like part of you wants to be, and because we all need to be, seeking it out. And I want to bring you in close because I need that to feel safe in the world. And I've got this hunger for that. But then it just gets too scary because my autonomic nervous system is not used to it. And an autonomic nervous system likes what it knows, even if it's not good for us. What it knows is to be in the world on my own. So it'll push away. Like there's that avoidant. It's like anxious. I want you. I bring you in. I push you away. I don't know how to deal with you when you're close, actually. So keep in mind this, you know, like any spectrum, we can relate to different ends of it. And then there's the disorganized attachment style, which is when you've been brought into the world with a lot of inconsistency. Your primary caregivers, for whatever reason is going on for them, have been very inconsistent. They may have been beautifully attuned and regulated one moment and then completely, like they might have actually been hurting you the next moment, and very unpredictable, very unsafe. So, you know, or just very volatile, or, you know, and I think of, you know, like an example might be a caregiver who had an addiction to alcohol, and, you know, when they were sober and at their best and things were going okay enough for that parent that had capacity and was seeing the child and attuning to them, and then it feels like the next moment, but, you know, not long after that, they're really intoxicated and they're actually passing out, and the child is left to feel like they're actually responsible for their parent's safety, and they've got to somehow stop that parent from being in some sort of life, like it feels like life or death. I've got to abandon myself, my own needs, to make sure my parents okay, that, they could be passed out on the floor. And it's a very clear message that I'm not safe in the world, but I have to be safe in the world. So I have to find a way to adapt to this very scary, terrifying situation.